Gellert Grindelwald, one of the darkest wizards of all time. The guy who was once best friends with Albus Dumbledore and then said, you know what? World domination sounds better. And now he's in Harry Potter Magic Awakened to remind everyone why he was such a big problem. So let's break down how his echo works in this video. When you pick Grindelwald as your echo, your companions get tagged into 3 roles: offense, strategy, or survival. Offense companions have red lightning, strategy companions have a green wand, and survival companions will have a blue shield icon. The Grindelwald echo only gets activated if all 3 companions are the same type. So either 3 offense, 3 strategy, or 3 survival. If you have 3 offense companions, the cost of all spells that are 4 or more MP get reduced by 1. Grindelwald will also buff the next spell that you cast after summoning a companion. But you can only buff a card once, and it can't buff a card that wasn't originally part of the deck. So this excludes Prior Incantados since it switches to a different spell. It also can't buff spells from the Standard Book of Spells, Legilimens, the Death card from Tales of Beetle the Bard, and other cards you've obtained from other cards. It'll work with the cards for Standard Book of Spells and Legilimens though, just not the cards that you get from them. It also lowers the cooldown of summoning a companion. If you have 3 strategy companions, the cooldown for summoning a companion is lower. Grindelwald will also increase the damage of spells that cost 4 MP or more. It will also copy any card you use after summoning a companion. It won't copy any cards that you've obtained from other cards. Any copied cards become part of your deck for that match. The card's level will be the average level of your deck. The cost to cast the copied spell will also be lower than the original. If you have 3 survival companions, you regain health for casting spells that cost 4 MP or more. After you summon a companion, it will give you a lower cost Protego Diabolica. The level of Protego Diabolica is the average level of your deck. And 4 companions you can use with this echo, remember that you have to make sure that they're all of the same type. The companions you choose for this deck will depend on which spell you want to use as your main damage spell. You'll need to choose companions that will complement that card. If you're using an offense deck, it would be a good idea to use companions like the Frey Twins or the Malfoy Gang, mainly to use Glacius Maxima. If you won't be using Glacius Maxima, other good options would be Longshuren and Abigail. If you're using a strategy deck, since its main mechanic is to copy cards that you use, it would be good to use Dumbledore and Hermione since they can duplicate this effect. Then depending on your deck, you can use Kevin, Young Hermione, Young Harry, Luna, or McGonagall. Luna would be a good safe pick since every time you cast a spell, she'll summon a creature. Young Hermione would be good if you want to immediately decrease the cost of your spells. Just remember though that she'll start adding cards to your hand, which may make it harder if you're intending on copying a specific card, since it might take a while for that card to appear in your hand. If you're using the survival deck, you can use Dobby, Snape, Hagrid, and Ivy. They can add a bit of offense compared to the other survival companions. You can use Dobby to help you position yourself for offensive spells, Snape can counterattack if there are a lot of incoming spells, Hagrid can run over summons and companions, and Ivy can quickly get rid of a particularly strong companion or summon. Now, for cards that you can use with Grindelwald, if you're using an offense deck, Glacius Maxima is a great spell to use. With the Malfoy Gang and the Frey Twins as part of the offense companion list, they create more casts of Glacius Maxima. Then when you combine that with the buff the card will get if you cast it after summoning a companion, it'll make Glacius Maxima even stronger. Apart from Glacius Maxima, any of the high damage spells will work with the offense Grindelwald deck. Spells like Whizbangs, Avada Kedavra, and other similar spells. For the strategy deck, good cards to add would be Thunderstorm, so you can cast multiple of them at the same time, and if you've managed to clear all the summons and companions, will deal a lot of damage to your opponents without the need to target them. Another would be Crystal Ball, although this would work better if you had Kevin with you as well as Expecto Patronum. Avis on the other hand is avoidable, but will use up a lot of your opponent's movements. Now, since this doesn't require the cards to be 4 MP and above, you can use it with spells like Group Counterspell, Bewitch Snowball, or Expelliarmus, and create duplicates of the spell. And for cards you can use with a survival deck, Obviously, Protego Diabolica is a great option since Grindelwald will give them to you after you summon a companion. Then you can use Prior Incantado to let you cast an additional Protego Diabolica. Then to help your Protego Diabolicas to hit, you can add cards like Inflatus or Incarcerus to keep your opponents in place. Or you can make them use up their movement with cards like Acromantula Venom, Avis, Atmospheric Charm, or other similar cards. That way, once you have multiple copies of Protego Diabolica, they won't have as much movement left. And remember that you only get healed for casting spells 4 MP or more. So with the offense deck, you want to make sure that each time you summon a companion, you use a different damage card, since Grindelwald can only buff a card once. You'll need to pick other cards for your second and third companions that will get buffed. If you're using a strategy deck, you'll want to make sure that you use the same spell after summoning a companion, so you have multiple of the same card. Also, remember that it won't copy any of the cards that Grindelwald created. You'll also want to save enough MP so that when you cast the copied cards, you'll be able to cast them one after the other. For the survival deck, since Protego Diabolica is your main source of damage, having Time Turner could be helpful to make the attacks faster. Then Prior Incantado can help give you an additional Protego Diabolica. Then use Accio to stop your opponent from moving and heal yourself at the same time. Or if you just wish to stop your opponent from moving, use Inflatus or Incarcerus. Overall, the Grindelwald Echo can suit a lot of different playstyles. If you want to be aggressive, defensive, or strategic, there's a deck that can suit your needs. This Echo will make for some interesting deck combos. So if you're ready to embrace a little chaos and maybe a little dark wizard energy, give Grindelwald a try. And until next time, fellow mages, see you in the wizarding world.
Enchanted popping candy.
Swooping easy.
Metallurgies.
Now you're in trouble.
Spiders. Now you're in
Nimbus
trouble.
2000.
Golden snitch. I'll get you this. Cornish pixie.
Super. Stupefy.
Metallurgies.
Whiz bang.
Hortus.
Niffler.
Pisky.
Confringo!
Fiendfire.
Nimbus 2000.
Inflatus.
Ashwinder. Three-headed dog. Cornish pixie. Also. T-bows.
I'll get you for this.
Spiders.
When you can, help will always be given in Hogwarts to those who ask for it.
Nimbus 2000.
A Pisky. Spectre Catron.
Nimbus 2000. A Pugmouth. Stupefy.
Death is but the next
Swooping
phase.
easy. Niffler.
Metallurgies.